It's November 29th, 2018, and you're listening to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable.
Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again. Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again.
Hello, and welcome to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. I am your host, Chris Quinn, coming to you, as always, from Studio B here in the Co-Prosperity Sphere. Thanks for having us, Ed, and everyone else here at the Co-Prosperity Sphere. Thanks for everyone out there listening. Oh, I do have to say thank you specifically to the fearless leader of Lumpen Radio for having us on, as always, Mr. Logan Bay. And, like I was saying before, thank you all for listening. If you're listening on 105.5 FM on the your FM dial. Now, I know most people don't actually listen to the radio anymore, and I'm sure that those who do don't actually tune in a dial, but
I listened to it on the way here.
There you go. But does your radio have a dial?
It has a terrible toggle button that doesn't let me specify the channel. It sucks. I got lucky. It took me 10 minutes to get on 105.5.
Yeah. I do actually have my alarm clock in the morning is the one I've had since I was in middle school, and it doesn't broke. It's not broke, don't fix it, or don't get a new one or replace it, whatever.
That's the old saying.
Yeah, that's that. I pretty much nailed that saying. And that still has a dial, so I suppose some people do.
I actually still have a dial.
Oh, okay.
I have a Jeep Wrangler. It's an oldie but a goodie, and it's stick shift, but it still has a little digital doot. So
Nice.
It's great.
Yeah. Okay. So
I've been on the station also.
Thanks for tuning in. 105.5 on your dial. For those of you who are listening streaming on the Lumpen Radio app or TuneIn Radio or any other radio streaming application, thank you for listening as well. The chat room is at tlk.io/WLPN if you want to hop in there, see if there's anything going on. Thanks of those of you who are listening via podcast as well. And if you enjoy the show, like I like to say, feel free to leave a comment or a review or something like that. And it's always great to see when the founder of the radio station is the person who's doing the things that you're not supposed to do, like touching the mic as you move it where you're not supposed to. Yeah, like doing that. That's
not
always
listening to a word you say.
Yeah, not listening to a word I say.
Are we live?
No, we're
okay.
Hey,
We're fine.
hello. Check.
Yeah. So but let's get started. I like to open it up all the time by saying that the goal of the show is to open up a window into how the people making, selling, marketing, and facilitating the beer getting into your glass feel about the topics that are a part of their everyday lives. Many of my greatest beer experiences have been talking about beer while sharing beers with people whose opinions I respect and admire, and it's these experiences that I hope to capture with this show, the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. So I will now introduce my guests. But before I do, I want to mention that the opinions of my guests are their own and no one else's, and no other entities that they may or may not be affiliated with, such as Lumpen Radio, for example, but really any other entity other than themselves. So they speak for themselves. That's it. So we're going to introduce the guests the way we always do, in order of seniority, that being how many times they've been on this show. So and we don't only count invited occasions, Ed. So you are still far and away the leader, since you know.
Great to be here.
Yeah.
I think tonight, for the first time in approximately 6 months, I was invited to the show.
Yeah.
So I'm very delighted to be an invited guest.
Oh, well,
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
You're welcome. And what's new with you, Ed?
Well, Chris, lots of stuff. Lots of things are happening, of course. The most recent thing, I think, is for me to master the new Battlefield 5 game. I'm currently playing Assault and Support. I'm having a difficult time using the recon weapons. I'm not a good sniper. And I haven't played the medic yet. And I'm looking for some squad mates. Some of my squad buddies are not playing as religiously as I am. And as you may know, as all the guests here know, when you play a video game like Battlefield 5, you need to have a squad. Okay. So I'm squadless.
Well, that's great to know that, you set everyone else up for a great intro, Ed. So thank you for coming on. And I'm starting to see why it's been 6 months since you've been invited, maybe.
I mean, I just got it. I was playing Overwatch for the past 6 months, so that's why I haven't been
all
here.
the listeners are aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, everyone who listens to the show regularly is very aware that you've been playing Overwatch.
A lot of positive comments coming in.
My next guest, well, thank you, Ed, for that update. My next guest is Mr. Doug Veliky of Revolution Brewing, who has been on kind of recently, but not so much lately.
It's been a little while, a couple months, I think.
Yeah. What's new with you?
Oh, personally got baby number 2 in 4 weeks, so Christmas Day due date. So that's the big one. Lots going on. Thanks.
Yay!
You did it again.
Yeah,
No
almost there.
sleep, all over again.
But then tons going on at Revolution. We had like a month of October where nothing new came out, which is rare these days, and then perfect storm in November of just like 7 new beers. All of our like rotating series is all just some things got pushed back, some things got pushed up, and it just like kind of aligned to November. So we've just released a ton of new beers, and then we have right in the middle of our Deepwood series where we're doing the 4 releases. We've done 2 now, and then we have a third one coming up a week from tomorrow. So that's keeping everyone busy.
Did you bring any of those with you today, Doug?
I did.
Oh,
I brought,
excellent.
I brought what I consider the dark horse, which is Gravedigger Billy. We haven't made it in quite a few years. I want to say 3 years, maybe 4. And it's our bourbon barrel Scotch ale.
I remember when that was born.
Yep.
I'm sure you do. One of the... Well, we can't do plugs. I have to be careful. So no plugs, but informationally, there's going to be an event at the Beer Temple that you guys offered or discussed with us. So thank you for that. That's
no problem.
It's pretty cool. Yeah. That's about. What's your favorite of all the stuff that's coming out? Your personal favorite?
I would say probably Rye Way to Heaven. That one's coming out this one coming up too.
That was kind of the sleeper last year, right?
Yeah, so that's a rye wine similar to a barley wine, but it's like 60% rye malt aged in. It got the name because it was first done in Heaven Hill barrels, so that's why we called it Rye Way to Heaven. But this year we got these really nice peerless rye barrels. It's a pretty high end bottle that you don't hear a lot of beers being aged in those, but an opportunity came up to get the amount we needed, and so we jumped on it. And
very cool.
Excited with how it turned out.
All right. Well, all right. When's that one getting released?
That's in a week, or a week from tomorrow. Yeah.
Cool. My next guest, Mr. Cal Frederickson. You are the only, just you this time, right?
Just me tonight. Yep, just me.
Okay,
You
cool.
didn't bring your friends?
You didn't bring your monkish friend?
I didn't bring my friar friend.
Friar friend? Okay.
Yeah, but he'll be back. Don't worry.
All right.
He's looking over his goose stash at his monastery.
Yeah. What have you been up to?
You know, he mentioned Gravedigger Billy. I gotta say, can I sing a portion of a commercial song?
Yes.
Is that legal?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, we've all heard of Dave Matthews, right? Gravedigger, when you dig my grave, well, you'll make it shallow so that I can feel the rain. You guys like that song?
It's funny.
Gravedigger,
when you dig my grave.
You know what? I don't know that song, but somebody else today we were talking about Gravedigger Billy, and they said, I can't hear that beer's name without thinking of that stupid Dave Matthews song.
Are you serious?
I swear today somebody said that.
Well,
and I was like, oh yeah, ha ha ha, having no idea. And now
we're going to get along great.
Yeah.
Lots of coincidences too.
Yeah.
Dave Matthews also notably, I don't know if I should say this on the air, but his tour bus released quite a bit of sewage.
Yeah, they had a release.
They had the release of their own about 14 years ago of raw sewage from their bus over the
Chicago
bridge on
River.
Lakeshore Drive.
That
On top of an
as a
architectural
tour bus. A tour bus was going under the bridge at the time.
a tour boat, or what?
Yeah, tour
architecture
boat, sorry.
And so it's an open top boat. People just got plastered by Dave Matthews, which some people might like
Yeah.
if they're fans.
Right.
Whatever it takes to get closer to Dave.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is what Chicago knows as Dave Matthews. Like, his famous incident that happened in Chicago is that.
That's
Yes.
who he's known for that. Just
Yep,
being
exactly. In Chicago, especially.
Yeah.
Like, we all know as Chicagoans what Dave Matthews did to us.
One year, I think a year afterwards, I bought on eBay some dried out toilet paper that Dave Matthews allegedly used on the bus that evening. And it was only like $2,400, and I bought it for
Whoa.
yeah.
You flip it?
It was
Or do you still have it?
It was like 3.5 sheets of paper that were stained, and I think each sheet's worth probably $550 each. So I think I got a deal.
Good. Well, good to hear.
Did you sell it or did you put it up in a frame?
It's framed.
Oh,
It's framed
nice.
in a kind of
Is there a certificate
deep
of
glass,
authenticity?
case.
It needs to have the certificate of authenticity.
Wow.
You've got to have him
It
sign
was,
something.
There was a photograph of it before, and when it on someone's face, then it was dried out, and then it was in the case. So it was the same piece in various stages of use.
All right.
Dave Matthews, if you're listening, we really need you to sign a toilet piece of paper and send it over to the Lumpen radio station, because now we would have the authenticity we need.
That's a
And if we sold that, we could raise enough money to buy our booster for the south side of Chicago.
There you are, Reuben Kincaid. Up, see you, Reuben. That was nice for him to crash the show for a moment. My final guest is Miss Michelle Foik, and Michelle, first-time guests. The tradition is
Big fan.
The tradition is they introduce themselves. So you have a very long and storied history here in the Chicago brewing scene. So if you would take a moment, I'd love for you to tell everyone who you are and what you.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. My name's Michelle Foik. I have been in Chicago for almost 20 years now. And in that 20 years, I've been in the craft beer scene. I started out with Goose Island. So I was 10 years with Goose Island, being a GM of their brew pub in Wrigleyville. I went to the the brewery itself on Fulton, and I spent the rest of my years there working my way through anything Goose Island allowed me to do. So I was working the marketing, I was doing finance, I was doing special events. Yeah, so they really trained me to do all the different things that I've ever wanted to do. Education, wholesaling, things on that end. And then Revolution came around, and they we need you to be the GM of our brew pub. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no.
And
like,
for
yes.
those who may not remember, Revolution was only a brew pub at that time.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
It took us 3 years to open up the large facility that they have at Kedzie right now. So, but I was with them for those 3 years. So I was at Revolution, and then after Revolution, I went to Virtue Cider. Mm-hmm. So from Virtue Cider, then I had been approached to open up my own place. And I own Eris Brewery and Cider House along with my business partner, Katie Pizza. And we are the first woman-ran brewery in the state of Illinois.
Cool.
Yeah.
And when did you guys formally open up?
Formally opened up 9 months ago, February
All right.
2nd of 2018.
Okay. Very
Yes.
cool.
I might add that your brewery and our brewery are in competition for best bar in Chicago on the Chicago Eater website.
I was wondering if you
as of
were
right
going to
now.
bring that up. I
Yeah.
thought they were going to bring that up. I'm like, Edmar's
Yeah.
not going to bring that up,
No,
but of course he did, and that's okay.
No, but
I think it's good.
I think the important thing is that we were nominated.
Oh,
Tap
I
rooms.
agree 100%.
2 tap rooms nominated
Yeah.
as best bar in Chicago.
Which
is the
I was
key
really
thing.
shocked.
Me too.
Very shocked. I thought
Never
maybe a
happened.
restaurant.
Never
No.
happened.
Well, let's go down in history, man.
Well,
Let's
we
do
already
this.
did. We already did it. It's already history has been made.
All right.
We've
Good
been
call.
selected
Now it's
as
just
the
who
best,
ends up higher.
The best bars in the city of Chicago are run by 2 people in your studio right now, Chris.
That's amazing.
Thank you very much. Yes. I love
But
that.
you've already
Thank
won
you.
for best bar. Your family's already won for best bar, right?
Best underpants, best bar, best bar, best bar.
Yeah, best underpants. Well, congratulations for that, as well as congratulations for the hardware you picked up at GABF.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, could you?
That was a total shock.
Yeah.
I'm
Talk
not
about
gonna
that
lie.
just for a moment.
Yeah, so Haley Shine is our brewmaster. And Haley and I both had this idea that hazy beers are not, we're not the biggest fans of hazy beers. And we know.
I like how this is starting.
Yes. We know that when you run your business, the business is not about you. It is totally about the consumer. It's totally about the kids that are going to be buying your product.
You're in the beer selling business.
We're in the beer, yeah, exactly. Even though many people think they're in the beer making business, no, you're in the beer selling business. And we purposely named Eris Brewery and Cider House to sound, the last word that you hear is cider house. So you're thinking it's a cidery. And some people think that cider is brewed. So they totally misunderstand that we are actually a brewery and a cider house together under one roof. So when Haley decided that she was going to go for that hazy IPA, the first time we actually brewed it, we had this crazy experience of, unfortunately, dry hopping it a day too early. And when we dry hopped that the day early, when you're a kid and you open up a 2-liter of, like, let's just say some soda products and you throw a Mentos in that? Boom. That's exactly what happened. I remember sitting, looking into one of the windows, and all of this beer was coming out of the kettle, and I'm like, holy crap. And so I ran outside. Haley was out there breathing the fresh air, and I went downstairs, and all this beer's everywhere. So the CO2 hit her in the face. She ran outside.
Right.
Correct. So it's very dangerous, too. Brewing is not this glamorous thing all the time. There's a lot of dangerous things that could happen to you. And we came back. We cleaned up the mess. And that's when the name kind of came up. The four of us talked about names. It was myself, Nunzio, Katie, and Haley. And Foik and Hayes just works. You know? I never wanted a namesake. Neither did Haley, because her nickname is Hayes. But, man, that just fit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Got
Foik
it.
and Hayes is the name. But, I was at a wedding. Haley was out at GABF. And she was, like, literally leaving, because it's the largest category. It's 391 entries. And she hears her name.
Largest category ever, I believe.
Correct. And she heard her name. And Eris's name, Haley Shine. And she's like, what? And she turned around, and, like, everybody was gone out of the room. And she gets up on stage and does her thing with Charlie. And it was crazy, though. Like, we're all just like, what category did we win? And she's like, the Hayes category. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me?
That's awesome.
So my mouth dropped. There was no way. I thought for sure it was going to be a different category, but we did it, and she made a great IPA.
Yeah, and then the folks at Alarmist as well
I
also
know.
won. How cool is that?
Corridor for their double Hayes
Yes.
IPA. Yeah.
So I think that now, the Chicago has planted its stake in the ground of the Haze, kind of the Haze capital,
Yeah, we're
right?
basically Hazyvale for the U.S.
Yeah. So it's the Shy PA, right? The hazy.
That's right.
Midwest.
The Shy PA style is the haze brew. However, Shy PA has been trademarked by a brewery in Indiana.
Oh, wow. Good call on Indiana.
All right. Well, there you go. I guess it's not the Shy PA. Well,
We just called our cider Chiberia.
Chiberia.
We have a chai winter kind of
Chiberia.
cider. So Chiberia. Yeah. We
And-
thought we were being clever. I don't know if anyone else thinks that, but whatever.
It's good.
Thank you.
Let's
Thank
beat
you.
it.
As long as Ed
Let's
loves
talk
it, that's
names.
fine with me.
Let's go.
Let's do
It's a
it.
naming night.
Ed, what was the name of that really long one you had that was like Midway?
Oh, yeah. MDWNEIPA. And wait, so the New
can't even
England.
get it out.
So NE, MDW for Midway,
Yeah.
CHIPA.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
All ridiculous.
New England Midway Shy PA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get right into it. The first thing we typically do is talk about what we've been drinking lately. I usually don't go first, but I am going to go first this time. I want to say that I was drinking something pretty darn good from Allagash that you brought, Doug. Was this the Cool Ship red?
Yeah. No, it's the cherry one. Cerise.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
that's
the
how you pronounce
Cerise.
it, yeah.
It was great.
Pretty amazing.
First time having it, yeah.
It was really, really nice.
I don't care what they say about Allagash and their beer.
Yeah.
Who's
No.
saying what?
The kids on
kids. Kids on-
Galaxy Force
Yeah.
5.
I only ever hear glowing reviews of Allagash.
You don't play enough
I don't even,
Overwatch.
You know what? When you're deep in the message boards of Hamburg 1975 and you start talking about beer, Allagash is brought up as like one of the best beers and makers of the best beers in America. And everyone's agreeing. I don't care. I don't care that people say that. Okay. I think that's great. I don't care. It's
Yeah.
cool.
I don't care that everyone else agrees.
Cool. It's cool that people are saying that.
Yes. And then the other beer I'm having is Alpha Claus, one of my all-time favorite kind of proto black IPA, which is now an extinct style. So it's a proto of a gone style, essentially.
Yeah, you can really taste the Christmas in this porter.
Yeah.
Just one of the most traditional Christmas porters of all time.
It's
as far as I'm
great.
concerned.
I love this beer. This beer is just so amazing. I love it. I love it. First time I had this Alpha Claus, so it's a hoppy porter, but it's really piney. And it's first of all, it's hard to like get piney hoppy beers these days. I feel so many of them are fruity and tropical, and I just think it goes so well with the chocolatey character in the porter. Just a really awesome beer. And the first time I'd ever had it was a long time ago. I don't think I had a super hopped up dark beer before, and so it's fun to be able to try it again
In 6-packs.
in 6-packs now. I know, it's amazing. It's great. How about you, Callie? Anything you've been having lately? Or that you're looking forward to trying?
Yeah, we at Spiteful we put out a variety pack of some porters recently that I've been digging. We've moved away from doing all bombers. A lot of people have been, so no more large format. Mostly all like 6 and 4 packs.
You don't care what they say. You're moving away from bombers.
Whatever they say, I don't care.
I'm moving away from bombers.
No,
Got it.
They're saying stuff, and it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? I don't care if they say it's cool.
Yeah.
Because we're going to do it. So I brought a couple of another variety pack we just did with our GFY Stout and a version that has coffee in it from Metropolis. Delicious coffee. Those are tasting great. Dig that. We got Alley Time packaged today, which is back in cans at the tap room. Alley Time is a very special beer. Yeah, we're an enthusiastic crowd. This is so I'm stoked at Alley Time. I was in Champaign last night and had a great smoked Helles from Blind Pig.
Nice.
And don't see a lot of those around. When I think of unusual German beers and English-style beers, I think of, in Chicago at least, I think of Rev's Brew Pub. I think of Clybourne, Goose Clybourne. So I crave those beers because they were formative experiences for me. So drinking a smoked Helles last night at Blind Pig was like, man, I want more of this. So at Spiteful, we've got some beers in that vein coming down the pike.
Oh,
Yeah, pretty stoked.
Cool. Very nice. Anyone else? Beers that you've had or are looking forward to having of note?
I was seeing that I'm in Old Irving Park all the time because that's where the location is. We stopped over at a Old Irving brewery, and they were just bottling their Krampus.
Oh, cool.
And I enjoy having adjuncts in my stouts, but sometimes these adjuncts are just so crazy and off the wall. But they still make a really nice, delightful stout. So I was really happy with what we got over there, too. And apparently they made 900 bottles and sold them all.
Just a unflavored stout?
No, it had adjuncts. So this has got
it did
vanilla,
have.
cinnamon.
Okay.
It's like a Christmas cookie in a stout.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, I've been drinking a lot of the adjunct kind of stouts with a lot of different flavor profiles. So
You're a pastry girl now.
yeah, I
you're a
guess
pastry girl.
We don't make them at Eris.
You will
at this
be.
Point.
You're gonna be. You remember talking about you're making a brewery to sell beer?
Yeah,
You'll be
I know.
selling some
I
pastry
know.
jams.
I think we're gonna. You know what? I'm selling all what the kids like. The brewed IPA, we just made one of those.
Mm-hmm.
We did the hazy IPA. We did a lactose, a milkshake. I thought we would never make a milkshake, and we made a strawberry
Come on.
one.
Everyone's
and it was
doing
good.
milkshakes.
I know.
You got it.
I got to get on the bandwagon.
Well, you gotta drink them.
I have been drinking. I drink ours for sure. I've had tried a couple other ones too. I like a balanced beer. And if that lactose is just too sweet, I can't do it. Bitter and
Balance
sweet is
it
fine.
with strawberry puree.
There we go. That's what we did. But
Yeah.
but the hops and the malts have to be balanced. I've always been that way. That's going into Revolution. That's why I like Jim Seaback so much. His beers when we started at the brew pub were always
Head brewer there,
balanced.
yeah.
Yes, he's the head brewer at Revolution, the main manufacturing plant now.
Yes.
Thank you.
And speaking of pastry boys, you're looking to be King Pastry potentially.
Well, ever since Pastry Boys or pastry beers made a resurgence in Chicago back in 2017.
A resurgence.
Yeah, a resurgence.
You don't care what they say.
No, I
You're
don't
going to
care.
brew them.
And, we started making Pastry Boy and Golden Boy and a bunch of pastry stouts. We hooked up with one of the premier pastry kings, I guess we'd say, King Kona himself.
Oh.
A beverage industry consultant that you guys might know because he's cornered the coconut market and was recently making a play on all fruit.
I heard if 50% of all coconut products in the world come from one
King
of his
Coconut's
groves.
fields. Yeah, his groves. Yeah. Well, King Kona also is, I put into quotation marks, a friend of the brewery. And he stopped by and he brought some hybrid experimental coconuts that we used to make.
When you said that, he just flew overhead and dropped them
in
onto the roof of the
parachuted
brewery.
them down on the roof. There was numbers on each coconut.
Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm.
They were numbered in sequence. That we had to cut them and open them up in sequence in order to unleash the beautiful notes of that coconut, the experimental coconuts. And he made King Kona's coconuts, a coffee and vanilla imperial stout that then went to the pastry board of the United States, who then recommended the pastry stout as being one of the designated holidays here in Chicago and the rest of the world on December 9th, inspired by drinking King Kona's coconuts.
Now, that I didn't know.
Yeah, December 9th is National Pastry Day.
That I do know.
And
is
on
true.
that day, in Chicago, Pastry Boy, a namesake of ours, will be released. But most importantly, a live show will be taped, inspired by Top Chef and the British Baking program. Will be filmed in its entirety at the Beer Temple.
Man, you just a lot of details have just been revealed to me
that you didn't even know about.
Well, about production levels apparently, but yeah, go on. No, I want to know. I want to.
It's kind of like a reality show where secret cameras.
Yeah,
it's like that.
yeah.
You have all this, so it's not like you won't see any cameras.
I mean, Chris, I've heard about this already.
Yeah. So you know.
I don't. Yeah,
you
I
know
totally
about
know
it.
what you're talking about, Edmar. I mean, totally.
So our team, we're going to be competing
That's
on National Pastry Day.
Yeah, to be king
with
pastry.
two other pastry boys.
Yeah,
to be the king of the pastries.
Microphone and
drop
Jerry
the mic.
Nelson. Yeah, there you go.
Seriously, yeah. My staff is like half my staff's taking the day off. They're like,
Wow,
we can't work on
National
December
Pastry
9th
Day.
because we're going down over to Beer Temple. I'm like, seriously? They're like, yeah.
The live taping.
The live taping, exactly.
Yeah.
All right,
December
well,
9th a weekday? Would they have to?
it's a
pick up?
No,
Sunday.
it's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday.
Yeah, it's totally a Sunday.
She works them 7 days, 7 days a week, 3 shifts. Cracks the whip.
Of course.
Doug,
for the best.
anything you would like to say?
I had a unique chance to someone offered who was going to Allagash that I knew kind of offered to fill a box up for me and bring it here. So I've gotten like one of a bunch of Allagash beers I've never had before because I just told him get me the ones that I can't buy here because a lot of those I've had a chance to try. So I've got to try some of the cool ships, like the Resurgam, other than Cool Ship Red, is definitely my favorite. I didn't know at the time I got it that it was about to be released in Chicago.
Oh, really?
It was like a week or two before, and I drank it, was so excited, and saw it was going to be everywhere here. But no, I was so into that beer. I was glad a lot of people here will get to try it. So hopefully they like it, and then we get more in the years to come. So.
Yes.
I'm rooting for that one. Then coincidentally, you mentioned a couple shows ago, but a bunch of bars tapped Cool Ship Red, which is like one of my all-time favorite beers, and it was neat to see that on tap here in Chicago and so many places. So I chased it down a couple times and had some pours.
So did I. As did I. Anyone else? I think everyone went. Unless producer Serge feels like going. Nah, he doesn't want to go. Okay. So I think we hit 8:30 on the dot. I think it's ready that why don't we do a little station ID break and let people know what other shows are out here on Lumpen Radio that they could listen to. Take you about minute and a half, and then we'll come back with more of the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. Welcome back to the Beer Temple Insiders Roundtable. I am your host, Chris Quinn, and I am joined by my guests, Doug Veliky, Michelle Foik, Cal Frederickson, and Edmar. Thanks for coming on again, everybody. I figured we'd jump right into it. Kind of a serious topic, but one that I think has some kind of cool, positive elements to it. We talked about it a little bit. Was it last week or a couple weeks ago when Sierra Nevada was in at the bar for an event? How the campfire was kind of raging through Paradise out there and came really close to Chico, and it was some just an incredible amount of damage has been done to the area in general. The largest fire in California history. I don't know if any of you guys saw the pictures of the flames just like across the sky that was taken at the Sierra Nevada brewery.
I got a picture my mother-in-law took from her street. They live in just north of Sacramento, which is like an hour and a half from Chico, and you could see the sky lit up in the distance being that far away. That was how I found out about like just how serious it was that they could see it from Sacramento.
Yeah. So the picture I saw, I think the fire was still miles away from the brewery, and you could see flames. I mean, not just like red sky. You could see flames in the sky. It was pretty wild. Apparently, 15% of the employees at Sierra Nevada have lost their homes. Jeff White was he works in the barrel program there, and he was at the event, and I was talking to him about it, and he was saying how there were 2 other families that were living with him at the time because they had no place to go. Apparently, the fire went so quickly that people didn't even have time to get home before their houses burned down, so they didn't have anything. So, so really tragic. But what was amazing to me was the response by primarily, at first Sierra Nevada, but then the rest of the brewing community, and I thought was really kind of positive. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because it ended up being kind of a historic brewing moment in a few ways. Because in addition to other things, so Sierra Nevada, they opened up. This sounds like an ad. I promise you it's not, but it's, I think, so cool that it's worth mentioning. They opened up their brew pub to all the victims and locals and first responders so they could get stuff to eat. They opened up their gift shop because these people didn't even have time to get clothes before their houses burned down. So they opened up the gift shop and just let them kind of take clothes and stuff to wear. And then they also started a fund called I think it was called it was like a campfire,
The Sierra Nevada Campfire Community Fund.
Yes, that. They started that. And got it off the ground with Ken Grossman, the founder, put in $100,000 of his own money. There was some other stuff, too. I believe they were helping get people into new homes and stuff like that, paying security deposits and stuff like that. But they are also brewing a beer called Resilience. And it's ended up being, I think, Garrett Oliver said it's probably by far the largest brewing collaboration in history, which is really cool because Sierra Nevada is brewing a beer and donating all their proceeds to this fund, and asked for other breweries to go ahead and do it as well, and urge them to donate, ideally all of the proceeds to this fund too. And also went so far as to talk to suppliers of materials like grain and hops and yeast, and asked if they would donate as well. And it's been amazing. So there's over 1,000 breweries have responded and agreed to be part of it, including I think at least 2 that I know of right here. I think Rev is that right?
Yep. Yeah, we brewed it yesterday.
Yeah, and Mars as well, I saw on that list. So, pretty. I just thought it was. I was reading it and I was looking at all there's a list. There's just a Google sheet that Sierra Nevada put out there and I started getting just emotional, just scrolling through the list of breweries. It was really incredible to see how everyone was kind of pulling together. I don't want this just to be a monologue. I wanted it to be a discussion, but I'm just kind of talking, so it doesn't really lend itself very well to it. But I don't know, Doug.
Yeah, this is like a mega version of why I wanted to get into this industry, of just like the mindset of these companies, even as the third biggest out of 7,000 breweries in the country, the way Sierra is willing to pretty much drop everything to make this happen, and the speed at which it's happening. Not just what they're doing. I'm talking specifically about the collaboration part, not to mention everything else they're doing locally. But to get this going, like for us at Revolution, this is by far a record-breaking time period from when the idea came about to when the beer was brewed. It was like, including the time the ingredients were ordered and needed to wait to come in, it took 10 days from when we heard about it till when we brewed the beer, and nothing like that ever moves that fast, especially for us. But to imagine like what they must be doing to coordinate this with I bet the number is growing well beyond 1,000 now. All these breweries have questions. They want to know, can we do this? Can we do that? And to have, you've got to be pretty much stopping everything, having all kinds of employees who are not used to doing something like this, because you never do anything like this, pretty much focusing on this collaboration, which is 100% everything going to charity. And, you know, I just was like just doing some rough math in the car. I don't have any numbers to share of just like how much money this is going to raise. I think they asked for it to be at least like a 7-barrel batch. And you just figure what that's going to be at taproom pour sales times 1,000 plus. Like that is going to be a huge amount of money that they're going to raise. And I've been getting emotional as well. I do a lot of Revolution's photography just as a hobby of mine, and I went over yesterday and hung out during the actual brew and was, you know, taking pictures of it to like document us brewing the beer. And then the local Sierra, 2 local employees of Sierra Nevada came over and helped us with the spent grain, and we're hanging out as we finished up the brew day, and it was really cool.
Yeah, and I think it says something too about people's respect for Sierra Nevada, that so many people jumped on so quickly and were like, yeah, we're in, we're doing it. And everyone, bigger guys, like big-ish guys like Rev, and little-ish guys like Mars, but also really big guys like Blue Moon was doing it. A couple AB breweries, I know 10 Barrel and Goose Island were also joining in. So it really kind of broke down any sort of independent, crafty, all that sort of stuff too, which was really kind of cool. It's
kind of cool to see that the craft beer industry is going to jump in where the government can't. And I mean, that's just the way I see it. You know, the government has its liabilities, has its things that it's supposed to do and not do, and we hear the different things going on through the newspapers and the different things everyone says. And here we have this community of people that don't care what they have to say. They want this to stop.
Yeah.
They want to help this. They want to make sure that California doesn't burn all the way up. And whether it's a brewery that's stepping in to do it, or it's the state itself, or the federal government, we have this awesome community that's going to say, you know what, we're going to raise more money to do this because we actually care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing. How did you guys hear about it, Doug?
We heard about it through actually a Beer Business Daily. It's just a daily email article that we get. And Don, our head of sales, replied to, kind of shared it with our team and said we immediately, within a minute of it saying we should do this. And Josh, our owner, wrote back, I already forwarded it to Jumpy, our brewpub brewer, to let's get this going. And it was just neat to see that. It was literally within minutes of it coming in, Don saying we should do it, Josh saying I already forwarded it to Jumpy to say get it going.
Yeah. Very cool. And then, so just logistically, both of Ed. I don't know how much you know about what your version of what's going on here, Ed. But I don't want to exclude you. Although I never have to include you. You'll just jump in whenever you want.
Yeah. What do you want me to say?
So what did they share?
Media.
Did they make the recipe publicly known?
Yeah.
Or
there's recipes for actual homebrewers as well. Yeah, you get the recipe. You have links to representatives if you wanted to get that grain donated to you or the materials donated to. We opted not to accept those donations. We figure someone else could use it. We'll just pay for it and do it ourselves. The one thing that I was kind of worried about was that it had to be mostly draft sales, but we're just going to put it in cans anyways.
Why did it have to be draft sales?
They're just suggesting that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But because I don't know if we can get rid of 15 barrels of draft without the beer. Maybe we could. We'll see.
It's odd to have beers on the shelf that are the same beer made by different breweries with a similar looking.
Right.
It's just kind of odd to be in a
Yeah.
package.
So
you can do it, and so especially out of your own tap room, but
Exactly.
it's all meant to be the same.
Yeah.
The one thing that is different, I heard, is the yeast. They didn't specify a yeast to use, so everybody can use their own. So if you try different ones,
Which makes sense
not
because
just
places will have house yeasts.
I think
and
a capsule.
You can't move that quickly on a yeast you never use.
I think a capsule of every single collab beer would be nice to make. A giant shipping container with one of each
one
beer.
vial of each.
Yeah, one vial would be nice. But yeah, I mean, in general, this is probably like Doug said. This is one of the reasons why we love being involved in this industry, is the fact that the community can get together so quickly and make a difference in such a amazing way, working with members from very small guys to us to, like you said, larger breweries and macro breweries. And I can't think of another industry that's organized or been able to do something like this. And it just speaks massive volumes about the type of people who work in the craft brewing industry and the type of good deeds that breweries like Sierra Nevada and thousands of breweries in America are doing day to day. And it's really awesome. It really is inspiring, and it really is it kind of makes you shake. It makes you feel really emotional about what is possible in this country.
Just one other thing I wanted to add. I'm sure this is happening with a number of vendors, but we got a note from our main hop supplier, which is John I. Haas out of Yakima, and they let us know that they'd be donating the cost of we weren't looking to get the hops for free.
They just did it.
They're taking the money we spent on the hops and they're donating those. So there's actually
wow.
There's going to be a lot of double dipping in a good way of
Yeah.
not just the retail sales, but the ingredients that the supplier would have made. They're going to donate that as well. So
I think most importantly of all this is I want to get predictions as to which version is going to get the most bottle caps. So
the more brewing,
more brewing version will get the most bottle caps. Okay,
yeah,
right. That's a good one.
That's a good one. I like that.
Okay, I'd say
it'll be a super hazy version or a pastry version.
Yeah, I mean, yes,
both.
Yeah,
a hazy pastry. PA.
Yeah.
Well, aren't they making white IPAs now? I'm sorry, white stouts.
Oh, yeah.
White stouts, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's like white IPAs.
Oh, yeah.
Does it come back around? It's already cool again?
I don't know. I tried one the other day. So.
Not cool.
Oh, I meant a white IPA.
Hey, I'm not commenting. I'm just saying I tried one the other day.
She's just saying she tried one the other day.
Well, they're saying they're not commenting on it, so.
You know what?
I don't care.
I don't care. I don't care what they say.
I don't care either.
I am going to give this pastry stout 5 bottle caps. I just thought that would kind of be a cool topic to start with. And I didn't really intend for it to go this way, but this is just how it is. Have you guys read all the hubbub, hubbaloo, whatever you call it?
Hubbub?
Mother Hubbard's Baloo?
Yeah, that about the Trillium saga that's gone on, talking about.
Wait a minute,
getting
Chris. You're going to go from a feel-good moment.
Should we skip that one?
Something awesome.
Oh, I don't think we should skip
incredible
that one.
about
I
the
do not
brewing
think we should
industry.
Skip it for now. Maybe come back.
To
Well, let's just
something-
do it. All right, let's just go.
Okay.
This is the order they were.
So
in.
why don't you just segue? Why don't we talk about Boy, it sure has been cold in Chicago. hasn't
Well,
it?
now how about this? Now here's the segue. One of the 1,200 breweries that's doing a Resilience IPA is Trillium Brewing.
Oh, that's strange, Chris.
Yeah.
I heard some news about Trillion.
Yeah, they're in some hot
recently.
water.
Hot water for some of bad stuff they've been doing, I guess.
Well, I think it's they've had a bad week or so from a PR standpoint, to say the least. And it. I mean, I totally agree with you, Michelle. I think it is something that we should talk about, if only because I had like non-beer industry people sending me this link from all over the country. So people saying, "Hey, do you hear about this?" And it's been written up in the Boston Globe now, and it's been, it's made news. So it all started with a Beer Advocate thread. I mean, really, what in the beer industry?
Tale as old as time.
Yeah, right. Tale as old as time. So there was just a Trillium thread. Trillium, for those of you who don't know, is they're one of the OG hazy boys. I mean, I know that there's the Shy PA, but
Of course.
they're
Talking
one
about
of the originators.
OH.
Yeah, they're OH. And I think
As a sidebar, though, why is it called the New England style if everybody in the Midwest is doing it better?
I mean the
Well,
Shy
that's why it's
PA.
called the Midway style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, was that? Come on, Calvin. Let's go. That's true.
It is. It's the Midway style.
Yeah. Hey, Michelle. is just-
Chicago way.
Yeah.
It is the Chicago
The
way.
Chicago
Yeah.
style.
It's the Chicago
IPA.
Yep.
Prove her wrong.
Got it.
That's all. I mean, prove her
That's
wrong.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
2 medals. Chicago.
3, really, 3 out of
Three.
6.
3.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you have it. We really just want
half the country's Hayes medals.
Sure.
Chicago.
one city.
Chicago.
Yeah, one city. Yeah.
One county, if you really want to.
Wow. There we go.
Cook.
Cook County. So anyway, I think it started. Please, anyone who is familiar with this, jump in to if there's any things that are factually inaccurate. I think the discussion was, those 500 page forum threads on a single brewery. They tend to not be super focused, but I think there had been some talk about perceived differences in Trillium's crowlers versus their cans for similar beers and stuff like that. And a former employee jumped in and to the conversation and said that they were posting anonymously, but they were going to shed some light and really kind of slammed Trillium, which has been one of the 1% of 1% of hottest breweries in the country, just like absolutely on fire, and kind of went after them in several different ways. And I guess, well, let me see here if I can
Break
pull
it down,
up.
Chris.
Yeah,
Break it down.
Let me
Come
break
on.
it down. Yeah,
Come on.
Let me break it down. I got to go to page 6 and see all this stuff. But so the first thing they said was essentially that from a practices standpoint, they've been doing some things that I guess isn't standard. So they're taking some of their Trub kegs, and for those who may not be familiar, especially with all beers, but especially some of these hazy ones, you're going to have a lot of sediment at the bottom of your tank, and you're filling up your kegs, and eventually you get to the point where the sediment starts to also fill up the kegs, and then I think standard practice is that then you stop and don't sell that beer. And Trillium had been selling those beers, kind of putting their Trub kegs on and filling crowlers for them. Yeah,
Allegedly.
This is all allegedly. At the time, this is all allegedly. And saying that, that's why on can release days they aren't selling any draft because those kegs still need to settle the Trub out, and then the taproom manager basically just opens the tap until the beer starts to run clear-ish, and then the bite goes away.
Hazy-ish.
Yeah, hazy-ish, and they don't have that kind of vegetal bitterness I would assume that you would get from those kegs. So this allegedly former employee. So that's probably what you're tasting there, and he also said that when beers were not basically fit for regular sale, they would turn them into these frozen beer slushies. And
add tequila to them.
Yes, and the other thing was there was a tequila beer that was supposed to be in tequila barrels, and people started asking what tequila barrels were you using, and eventually it just became nobody asked, nobody say anything, but according to this employee, he said they were just dumping tequila into it, which is definitely not legal. There were allegations of a certain root beer recipe that was in an ancient scroll that did the same thing here in Chicago.
Not your father's.
Not your father's.
Them?
Not your
father's.
No, this was not your father's root beer. He didn't do it.
Oh,
not his. No. Yeah, no. But anyway, there was that, and then there was a whole other side of things, just as them as employers, and how when they expanded, I guess Trillium had expanded to just a very close location across the street, and made everybody re-interview, all the taproom staff re-interview for their jobs, and when they did rehire them, I'm laughing, it's not funny, they rehired them all at minimum wage. So you had people who've been working there for years and had some tenure and were making more than minimum wage, essentially had to interview for the same job, and then if they got the job, got a wage cut.
I seriously want to know who consulted them on this.
Who consulted who?
Who consulted Trillium on providing the idea that the new place can start all over, get new applications for previous employees, and then on top of that, start them at a wage that would be the minimum wage when you open up. Because I get what they were doing. Hey, maybe we had too much overhead and labor, maybe this and that in these new pubs. Now that we're opening up a new place, we're just going to make sure that everyone comes in and can start working at minimum wage. But the thing is that, what kind of environment are you actually creating for your employees? Mm-hmm. And where are you taking their experience? Where are you allowing them to grow? That's one of the most important things for me in any kind of pub or any kind of company I've ever worked for is how do you make the culture at your place? What is your idea? Are you hiring people just to be working there for 1 year, 2 years, and then let them go because you can find someone else that will replace them for the same dollar amount? Or are you looking for them to be able to grow into something new? Are you helping them achieve their goals? And I think that's a big difference. And with them opening up this new place, I could see someone saying, well, technically, you can have everybody reapply because it's new. It's under a new ownership. It could be under a new name. It could be under a new LLC. And just forget about your culture and just start brand new. And this way you can save on labor, you can save on this, you can save on that.
I mean, it's legal, but it's maybe not ethical.
I completely agree with that.
And what you would normally do in this scenario is grandfather in the existing employees who are switching over and make it for the new people. I mean, that's going to cause issues as well, but...
Sure. And we were saying allegedly, but then the owner of and founder of Trillium went and posted on the same thread and essentially admitted to everything. I don't know if they admitted to the tequila thing, but I mean admitted to all the practice, the trub and the wage practices. Said, yeah, that is what we're doing. And then it kind of spiraled from there, and I think they've issued apologies now. And
they issued a statement. It was 6 days later, and they said that they didn't. I wouldn't say they apologized, but they said they were going to go and change everybody's salary who was an existing employee back up to $8 instead of $5 an hour. So they were going to fix that part.
Yeah, only after a giant outcry, I would.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Yep.
yes, there's no. I mean, it's very safe to say that would not have happened otherwise. I guess it is a little bit of yin and
Well, it
yang
just-
here.
And that's what I'm saying. It just drives me crazy that I feel like they did consult someone in the financial world. In the financial world, the guy's like, this is, or the girl, whoever it is, the person is like, yeah, you should really do it this way if you want to save here, here, here on your expenses. But once again, we're trying to build a community of people. I am. I hope everybody else is. And I think we are sitting at this table. I know everyone sitting here and most of us want to build something for our employees, I hope. But the thing is, it's like, you've really got to think, social media is so big right now. People's words, people can shut you down, people can open you up, people can make you big or small. And you really have to think about the idea of what your culture in a company is. You just cannot listen to the financial aspects of everything.
Yeah.
I know when we're down and out, it's hard and we have to do some cuts. I get it. I've been there already. But the thing is like the long run in the next couple of years, I have to look out for the people that are going to be making us what we are today.
Well, I agree with you. I think the only thing I learned from this is that, wow, there's people out there who know how to make some money by cutting costs. I'd like to talk to them someday.
Yeah, I mean, some of that. So I was trying to give people the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
and one of the things I did think about was, maybe they're still in startup mode. Maybe they were just, kind of.
Yeah.
I'm
But
saying
they're not in startup mode.
cheap. I don't
Yeah.
want to say maybe very cost effective and just very good at kind of finding ways to save and
think the
they
problem
didn't
was-
adjust after
I
this
think
meteoric
I think
success.
the problem was servers typically get paid a low wage like that, but the people getting this low wage were like the merch person, and usually the merch person doesn't get tipped out like
yeah.
a bartender or a server. So that was one of the problems with that wage for that person. But in general, you're right. I mean, when you start a brewery, when you're starting out, you're totally screwed. You've made the worst decision of your life. You're in massive
second
debt. It was really a bad idea. You're struggling. You would love to take $5 an hour for all the work you put into a business like that. But when you grow and you become someone that with the notoriety of like Trillium, and you're a successful business and you're selling your Haze Boys to bankers and investment cholos all over Boston for $22 a 4-pack, you probably could make sure that your employees get paid pretty well.
Straight from the tap room
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Our goal, and I'm sure other our other companies' goals are really, we want to get to the point where everyone is paid, where it's a job they can have forever. They can live well on it. We provide health care, provide, sick leave, vacation, whatever we can to make the kind of life that we would like to have, in a job somewhere. And that's the ultimate goal, I think, of a lot of small businesses.
I agree.
Right?
That was another part that the poster, the former employee also mentioned, was that they typically are the brewing positions, or all the positions there are generally under, I guess, average. They pay below average, with the idea that if you have Trillium on your resume, you can get a job anywhere. So we're going to kind of work you at a lower rate, let you use that name on your resume, and then kind of you can move on from there.
That's
and
the
as a
lump
result,
and radio strategy.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work that way. in
Wait, am I
beer.
getting paid for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
Yeah. I've been gently reminded twice now by producer Serge that you're listening to WLPNLP Chicago 105.5 FM, Lumpen Radio Chicago, and we're talking about Trillium beer. I mean, you're a hazy boy, Cal. What made you? How did you feel about this when you read this? Did it knock them down a couple bottle caps in your mind?
I don't use Untapped, so.
What are you talking about? I just think in bottle caps now.
You're on a new echelon of IQ. You're on that UQ, that Untapped quotient.
Yeah.
What's your UQ? Your UQ is probably 4.79. If I were to gauge it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'm like at a 4.7 on
You just
UQ.
UQ'd him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Totally
Mike
good.
Shalau, 4.35.
Yeah.
What am I?
Oh, Edmar, you're at 4.99.
Thank you. Here's $1.
There's one rating for 4.
Yeah.
What did I think? I, like a lot of people, felt surprised that this happened.
Kind of a bummer, right?
This is the first I'd heard about a retail position at a brewery that was paid at at the server rate, with factoring in being tipped out, and that was maybe I'm ignorant to that, but are any of you aware of that being standard practice for a retail environment, be it beer or otherwise?
In the state of Illinois, no.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know what Massachusetts state laws are and
This
what
is
they're.
Boston we're talking
I
about.
know, right? So
They do it different there.
yeah, and I mean, they were saying $11 is their minimum wage, but $3.25 was their server wage, and that's like in Chicago, it's $12 an hour, and we do $6.45, I think it is, for a server. So it's way different.
Yeah, I share the sentiments that have already been expressed. It's a shock to read something like this. It's a shock to go a week.
Is it a shock? Was it a
without
shock?
Acknowledgement.
Was it a shock? I don't know. I was talking to Boston Joe. I'm going to blow up Boston Joe's spot.
Just name drop Boston Joe.
Yeah, Boston Joe was not at all surprised, and because somebody forwarded it and CC'd him on it, and he said, "Yeah, I might be biased, but I always got the feel that they wanted to just kind of strip everyone of any pocket change they possibly could when you went in there." He's like, the feeling I got when I went there, which is just a feeling, but he had been very vocal about feeling that way, and he's from Canton, so he wants to love the local brewery, but he would go in there and just be like, I don't know. This was one person's opinion from years ago, but he said he would just get this feeling like he was being fleeced when he would go there. But so to him it was not surprising, which is why I was saying, was it shocking really to hear it? And I'm not saying you weren't. I'm not calling you a filthy liar, Cal. But I'm not calling you that. I don't care. I don't care that people call you that.
You're a dirty liar.
Yeah.
I'm a filthy one. You're dirty.
Yeah.
We're both
It's fine.
unique. So I guess I instill a lot of faith in the. We talked about the story at the top of the hour was the beer community coming together and pooling resources and donating and
Probably should have flipped those stories the other way around.
That's the narrative I'm used to. I've been in beer for 8 years. That's all I've ever known is the goodness, and even if it's a small brewery who can't pay a lot, they're doing everything they can to make it worth an employee or volunteer's hours. That's been my experience. So reading this truly did feel
surprising.
out of the ordinary, especially from a brewery with their prestige and their place in the industry, and for having operated as long as they have. I truly was surprised, and if this feels like probably wasted words to say that, I think a lot of people felt that way. But it sounds like if you lived closer to the brewery, maybe you had a different sense of the climate there. I've never been there.
Yeah,
but
I can't
Boston
say.
Joe,
This is just Boston Joe. He's just one Boston man.
Well, let's think about this though. What's behind the curtain? Okay, so when you're at a brewery, and you look at what you can make money from, right? So them using extra tequila, them possibly using that. What was that stuff called that they made a frosty out of or a slushy out of?
The Trub?
The Trub, yeah. So if they're already trying to do these different things with these different products to make cash or make money or sales, then it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that they're going to take away the labor wages. There's obviously some red flags going on in this company. And I'm not saying yes or no, and I'm not saying that this is a fact. Please do not. That's not what I'm saying. But when I look at the article and I see all these different things happening, they need to make revenue. They're making revenue. They're cutting their labor. I have to wonder about that. And then sometimes...
Meaning, is there pressure to do so? Or are they in trouble? Do they make some bad investments?
That's what I'm asking, because that's the red flags I see also, And then on top of it, we know people... No, we don't know people. I guess I should say that we never want to dump a product down the drain, right? We always try to figure out how we're going to make this work, or where can we use it, or what can we do with it, whether it's, make it a... if your first time product, if you have to dump it down the drain, you get a tax refund or a tax.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, if you're opening up a brewery,
I love this show.
I know.
I learned so much about running a brewery.
If you open up a brewery and your first test batch goes down the drain, you could actually record it and you get
a refund
or something. It's something that helps you
recoup the cost.
Tax exempt or something. I don't know. I can't remember, but you get to recoup the cost the
called
first
tax
time.
Evasion.
No, but it's the first
Legal
one. I feel I should
evasion.
have more. Dang it! Why did I get on
You
here?
can get
and
an
start
R&D
talking about
tax
something?
credit for it.
Avoidance.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. But what I'm saying is, insider. if we make a bad batch of cider, I can always make vinegar.
I'll take it. Give me that
Exactly,
vinegar.
right?
I want to make some shrubs now. Let's go.
But if you're in,
Send it to me.
I will. I definitely send. Well, we haven't made a bad batch yet.
Make a bad batch.
No, I'm not making a bad batch. But anyway, so I have to wonder about that. I mean, I've been in a brewery before where something has gone wrong and the beer got infected.
Add a chicken to it.
No more chickens. I had a brewery that the beer went bad. No, the beer got infected, but the beer tasted so amazing. So what do? You market it. You turn it around. You create a new product, a new brand, and you sell it.
You mean like the sour imperial stout?
What are you talking about?
One of my favorite styles.
And that's what I'm saying.
Inspired
Exactly.
an intentionally sour porter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there we go.
Trailblazing style of beer.
Thank you. And I get that. And those are the good ways of doing it. But I don't know. This article is completely different.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of like another narrative that might have happened that's beyond the just, there was an opportunity to help the bottom line and this is what they did. The only thing I could think of, and I'm not saying this is better, so please don't think that, but, what if they were opening this other location and then they're looking at their, in their POS system and they see, if most of these sales are credit cards, what if they are maybe seeing that these employees who are filling growlers and handing out cans, such a big proportion of the people buying them are giving them $1 or $2, and they're looking at what they're actually making, and they're seeing that, wow, these people filling growlers and selling cans are making more than our brewers. When we open up this new location, maybe we just need to start them at $5 instead of $8 because they're making a killing in tips. And that's the only other reason I could think of that. I don't know. Tell me, is that better?
No, that's actually
I don't
seems
think
pretty.
it is better, though. I don't
But
think it's
I'm
better.
just saying, but that could be a thing.
It could
right?
be a reason.
Yeah.
Could be a reason. I don't think
Yeah.
it's better because that's just a weird societal thing where we've, as a society, set up those wages so the consumers now realize that those people rely on tips rather than it be like a bonus for good service. This is how these people make their living, so now we're going to tip them. And if there's 1 million people going to your tap room, you're going to get $1 million in tips. But that's not Trillium's job to correct society that way. If you want to correct it, say pay them a living wage and don't have them accept tips. There,
What are you?
problem
some sort of
solved.
Commie?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
You democratic socialist.
Scum.
Yeah, scum. Exactly.
That's the word you were
I wanted
thinking
to
of.
spit that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know if that's Trillium's place personally to go in and step in and cut wages
become a
as
communist
result.
brewery in this great American country of free market values.
Right. I think even look at what the owner was saying. TJ, I think was his name. He was
JC, I think.
JC. There you go. Some sort of thing.
Initials.
JC.
We don't know what his real name is.
Yeah. He basically said that we give about the Trub. He said our QC lab and QC team, retail team, monitor to ensure that the quality meets the standard of the rest of the main batch, and if it doesn't, if it doesn't get dumped, it would be wasteful to throw out good beer, and that there's usually a small amount of Trub. So, talking about how it would be, I don't know. I think he probably just is a miserly type person, which can help in growing a small business to become very successful. And I think that might be a trait that someone has. I mean, there's a lot of people who are like millionaires and billionaires, and they're cheapskates. I have some in my family, people who are fabulously wealthy, and I remember back in the day, he was like yelling at me for using a cell phone when there's a perfectly good payphone outside, and I was thinking, it's like, you are worth so much money, and you're telling me that the cost per minute on my cell phone is less than going to a payphone. I think that's just how some people are, and that might be why they got to the position
Because
they
of the
were
war,
in.
Chris.
Right.
You know,
I was going to say it's
Exactly.
the culture of his family,
Yeah.
but hey, whatever, you know, like
That's
hey,
what
that's
I mean.
how it works,
yeah,
right? You
yeah.
know,
And it was in the case of my cousin. It was the culture of his family who had come up in the Depression and stuff like that.
Well, you know, I many times though, you know, while trying to learn how to do a business, you come across these analysis of reading your data. I'm sure you're doing the same thing. You're the data master 5000, Doug, and you think that all these things become ways of reducing your costs. So the hourly wage becomes one. Maybe not comping 50% for friends and family. Maybe doing 15% is a good idea. All these different ways of saving money or saving money by not giving away XYZ product adds up to become a salary for someone or pays a premium on a healthcare plan. So it could be genuinely they're interested in doing that. But from the looks of it, the initial people go by the name, but their names are initials. If it's in Boston, if Boston Joe don't like them, feels like it's getting fleeced.
you don't like them.
I don't think good things are happening.
If Boston
Good
Joe doesn't like
decision.
them,
Yeah,
Edmar don't
yeah,
like them.
If Boston Joe's getting bad vibes, bad vibrations from this place, and feels that what happened seems natural for the owners to do that to their employees, I'm going to lean that way. Even though next time I'm in Boston in a month or two, I'm probably going to get hit by a couple of bats and people are going to throw stuff at me.
Yeah. All right.
But you're used to that.
Well,
Do you think-
only in Chicago? I don't want that to happen to me in Boston.
So let me ask you a question, Doug. With how this has made a blip on the mainstream news cycle, especially in their home region of Boston for Trillium, do you think it's going to have any short, medium, long-term effect on their overall financial health?
I think so because it's them, because of who they are. If this happened at, a lot of thousands of other breweries,
6,150 other breweries.
They are Mount Rushmore of on the
Bottle
IPA
caps.
side at least,
Yeah.
the enthusiasts, the people who buy with their heart and all that. So, like if this had happened at a more national brewery whose beer drinkers aren't online paying attention to the beer chatter on Twitter and all those things, it would be, I'd say, more of a blip on a radar. But for them, no, I do think this will leave a sour taste in people's mouths, especially, for a brewery who is so concentrated on their local audience, people that live within, call it 2 hours of Boston. That's probably who they sell 90% of their beer to or something like that. I think this is probably, if this is news here, this is probably like 10 times the news there, and all the smaller blogs that only the local following. Like I think this is everywhere, and I do think this will impact them for sure.
I conversely was seeing some more cynical perspectives on that, where if we're going to go down the cynical hole that sometimes we can go down here on the beer tables inside of this round table.
No.
Some folks care about Trillium only as much as they like the beer itself. Those drinkers can divorce themselves of the politics and practices of the company. What percentage that is of the drinkers, I don't know. It might be more than we care to think. So who knows? Maybe half the people that go there routinely to collect cans for themselves, to collect cans to trade, to sell. If you're going there to trade and sell beer exclusively, I'm pretty sure you have no ethical considerations.
True.
Where you're putting your money.
But for argument's sake, to Doug's point, if there is another group of people who are local or somewhat local who that does leave a sour taste in their mouth, that does mean that the overall demand will go down. And if there's one thing that those whale chasers hate, it's a beer that you can get.
Fair enough.
Well, here's
That
another
is
thing.
the death.
I have to
to
agree
those
with that.
people.
Yeah.
And also think about the fact that, they're in the, I'll just repeat the Mount Rushmore of when people, especially people who had to work a little bit to get it, when they drink a Trillium beer, they tend to want to post about that experience and show their friends, especially if someone in Chicago got a Trillium beer, they might be more likely to post it on their Instagram page if they do that sort of thing. And if you did that now, part of the fun for a lot of people, it's the reality is sharing the fact that you're drinking a Trillium beer and you're here in Chicago. But if you did that right now, you know you'd get all these comments from your friends saying, "Oh, I can't believe you're drinking." So would that discourage you? Would that make you, with all the other options out there, more likely to want to drink something else, maybe go after a Treehouse beer instead of a Trillium beer? Like that type of thing I could see happening. I'm not saying they're going to go out of business. I'm just saying, is this more than just a blip that'll just quickly go away? I'm saying I think it'll affect them, not maybe not be the knockout blow or anything like that, but just will they see more than just a temporary dip? I'd say yes.
I think between sales and the fact that their labor pool will be much smaller. I mean, trying to find the correct people to have working for them is going to be tougher for them now because they're not abiding to the things that people want to see in a job. So, but I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
I think that the sales is going to go down. I think that people are going to be more adamant about not buying them in a sense of solidarity.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I mean, I think it could definitely go either way. It could just people say, they still make the haze whales, and I want them, and I still like the way this drinks, and it's still my local brewery. And, people will come up with a lot of reasons to still like something that they want to like. So it could go either way. I mean, just look at, I don't want to get political, but just look at politics. Whatever side, you have people who like one side or the other, and if something negative happens to that side, they tend to find reasons for it not to bother them. So I certainly think it could be the same for something as relatively insignificant as a beer, unless it's over 4.5 bottle caps, obviously, Cal, as you know.
I mean, I think coming from doing some music stuff, I'm constantly hearing about how always dude artists, famous male artists are perpetrating sexual violence, sexual assault, and more those people are being held accountable, as they should be. But still, listeners, fans of artists will find ways to still justify their, it's art from the artist. So you'll find ways to get over your reservations about an artist.
Yeah,
people like R.
music.
Kelly in Chicago in particular.
R. Kelly, I mean, that
is still on. I hear him on the radio across numerous stations around Chicago.
I know.
And this is kind of,
it's crazy.
It's poor phrasing here, but at ground zero for people's awareness about what he's done and is doing. And so
What did he do?
Yeah.
There's been extensive reporting about his sex cults. You can look it up. It's not pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim DeRogatis, someone who had a diorama
Jim D.
In the co-pro here. Did a whole bunch
of sound opinions.
I think as we start talking about R. Kelly and Kel's
What rabbit hole are we going down now?
I think it's probably time. Yep, we're getting kicked out. DJ Surge just came in and told us to get out. It's his time. He's got some choice tunes for us to listen to for the next 10 or so minutes as we just relax and kick it and talk about R. Kelly and some other stuff. And then
John Lennon.
Yeah, we'll come back.
David Bowie.
Yeah, all of them.
I thought you were going to say John Mayer.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We could add him to that list too.
Well, let's talk. We're getting into some of the juicy, break gossip. So let's come back in a few minutes with more of the Beer Temple Insiders. Roundtable. I'm your host, Chris Quinn, and I am joined by my guests, Edmar Zuski, Calvin Frederickson, Michelle Foik, and Doug Veliky. And producer Serge holding it down as well. Now, during the break, we were talking about a couple different things, and one of the things I noticed was Ed was coming out with a can, and I was like, oh, whoa. Oh, that isn't what I thought it was. And I told Ed, hey, Ed, that your can design looks like you ripped off
Omno.
I'm the pollo. I mean, and Cal finished my sentence. Cal finished
talking
my
about?
sentence.
That's clearly the Japanese
That's clear. That's Fata Morgana.
rising sun.
Yeah.
Did you think they used that in their beer?
Yeah, Fata Morgana is.
Did they really?
Yeah, it's the rising sun over an ocean, and it's kind of.
No, I'm talking about the representation on the flag. Not that we don't have a wavy ocean or sun going on. But, it's funny you brought up on the polo, Chris.
Oh, yeah?
As I defend myself and unintentionally trying to rip off their design.
Carl Grand, yeah.
Carl, if you're listening, which I don't think you are, but if you are, Carl, I want to thank you for unofficially announcing that you're coming to Chicago and you'll be mounting an art show here at the Co-Prosperity Sphere.
Whoa.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Whoa, when's that happening?
We haven't worked out the dates yet, but whenever he wants. So I'm excited about that. We're going to be thrilled to show his work, and of course there'll be events at your place and all over the place, and there'll be an Omnipolo freak out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's funny you mention Omnipollo. When I think of pastry boy royalty, he might be the Archbishop.
Yeah.
Would he be welcome at
Henneck,
I heard about this event, December 9th.
You ever hear of Skype?
Yeah.
Well, there's actually a team that's going to be out in the Nordic region at the same time as the live taping of the
Battle Royale,
the pastry Battle Royale. And you'll have some cutscenes in the final product that goes on Netflix in February with the brewer showing you what the etymology of pastry stout.
Cool.
That is not true.
Where did this pastry stout begin? Someone needs to do a history of the pastry stout.
Thank you, Chris. I believe that was a suggestion I made back in '63 to you.
I think you might
to have the
yeah.
origins of pastry stout show.
1963.
All right, so we'll need to think about it. We'll need to.
Just want to make sure I heard that right. 1963.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a favorite year. Ed has done a lot of stuff in 63. He's talked to a lot of people, done a lot of things in 63 because he refers to that year quite a bit. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
It's a seminal year. It's the Beats were making a big splash in New York at the time. Of course, there was.
Is that a nickname for the Beatles?
The Beats. The Beats.
The Beat. Oh, I got the Beats.
Those renegade artists, weirdos, hep cats that transform society through clothing and cafe culture,
Snapping
and the
the
early
fingers.
use of psychedelics and marijuana.
Okay, got it. Well, let's move on from the beats of the of 1960s New York to Canadian brewing manufacturing companies. That seems like a nice segue to me.
Yeah, Chris, mind blown.
Yeah.
You want to set this up, or do you want me to talk about it?
Set it up.
DME and Newlands are two manufacturers of brewing systems that probably hundreds, if not 1,000 brewers are using to this day. DME, I forgot what the initials stand for, like darn manufacturing engineers or... Yeah, anyways, they purchased Newland, which actually makes really good systems a couple years ago, right?
Yeah,
like
I believe.
Just making this up.
A couple years ago.
I don't know.
2 years ago. Yeah, 2-3 years ago.
And they got some financing from a private capital firm. I think it's called Corporate Vultures Investment Firms.
Yep.
And they got involved in the brewing industry because there was an explosion of breweries in America and the rest of the world, and these guys were manufacturers based in Canada, one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast. And then recently, it's not bankruptcy, right?
Receivership.
It's receivership. And I unfortunately, since I don't know anything about business, don't understand what that means. So I equate that to the first step to bankruptcy. Is that correct? Where's Boston Joe?
It's post bankruptcy, isn't it? I mean, it's like it's quite bad. Let's ask.
I was
the
gonna ask,
CPA.
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Oh, dang it. I thought you were going to have an answer for us.
It could be a Canadian thing too. Right?
Can you just make something up, Doug?
Receivership?
I thought receivership was. After you're bankrupt and you're just
I know
you're
that
done.
I actually learned about this, and where I spent most of my time was a brewery called Voodoo Brewing in
Wow.
northwest Pennsylvania. I grew up in Pittsburgh. I kind of follow them, and they made an announcement that they had this big expansion in the works for a while, and that's where they were buying their system from, and they wanted to share the news that even though this company was in receivership, that they were still committed to fulfilling their order and getting them everything that they had committed to and paid for. And that was something that Voodoo put out maybe 2 or 3 days ago.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I read about that. I didn't get to read as much of.
So I'm just looking up what the
I'll be honest,
difference
I didn't
is.
think we were going to get to this topic.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
Okay. No, it's okay. So, receivership differs from liquidation, as the assets are realized for the benefit of one secured creditor who made an appointment of a receiver, whereas liquidation, the assets are realized for the benefit of all creditors. So I guess that's liquidation and receivership, not necessarily bankruptcy.
So they have incentive to finish in process projects, right?
I would
they need to
think so.
So
yeah,
that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, there's a new craze going on that relates to another article that we're not going to get to, this new alcopop phenomena. And I think if the alcopop phenomena, the craft alcopop phenomena grows over the years, I think there'll be room for more brewery manufacturing companies like DME Newlands. So maybe the next, 6 months to a year, a new private capital firm will invest some funds to kind of compete in that space. But I think the biggest issue is...
I'm still looking. I think receivership is worse than bankruptcy.
Yeah.
It looks like. It's like you're donezo.
No,
Yeah.
but there's a chance for them to continue the company if someone does bail them out.
Yeah.
I think if you went bankrupt, you can just get rid of your debt
Yeah.
and then keep going, right? Or write it off somehow.
But anyway.
But what this means is that it's one of those dark clouds that people have been trying to...
Winter is coming.
Yeah, the winter is coming on narrative that people want to put on the craft brewing industry in general, right?
I'd say so.
And that this may affect I know Voodoo got lucky, but a lot of breweries probably put down payments on most likely 50% of the cost of the system itself.
Could you imagine?
And then they're not getting their brewing system.
So now what if they had to take out loans to pay for a new expansion, a new system?
Or your first system, your first brewery.
Right. Or either one, any one. Yeah. So, I mean, either way. So you're taking out a loan to put down the 50% down payment to get the brewery started. You're using by all accounts, very highly regarded company, either of these, to make the system, and then they're now in receivership, and you're not getting your system or your money very likely. And this has happened before. Didn't this happen a couple of years ago with another tank manufacturer? I think. I know there were been a couple breweries. I think it was like Monkish or Other Half. Literally just drove out there and just picked up the tank because they were afraid it was going to get seized as an asset, but other breweries had been screwed over. So this could really have a ripple effect on a lot of places who plunked down a lot of money. I mean, apparently,
especially with the reputation that Newlands has. I mean, I know a lot of people that looked at their tanks, that looked at their brew houses and things on that end, and that have actually purchased them in the past. So I could only imagine just how many breweries are like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Where did you go for your brew house?
So we went with Global Stainless Solutions, so GSS. And it was a woman who ran her business out of Salem, Oregon, just outside of Salem, Oregon. And she used to work for JVC. And she built tanks for JVC, then started her own business. And she wanted to start specializing in smaller brew pubs because her tanks or her brewery systems were all 60-barrel, 30-barrel, and higher. So she wanted to find that niche, which, everyone's opening up a brew pub or opening up a 10 or 15-barrel system. So, and she found out about us through a company that we worked with as cider company called Wandering Angus. And Nick, one of our friends, found her, and she's like, I want to work with a female-owned business. And she was looking at having our company be the showcase for her breweries. But because it took us 3 years to get to that point, she sold her business to AAA. So they were the ones that finished the tanks for us. But our brew house system is her system. But the rest of our tanks come from AAA.
So there was an article in a blog called Ben's Beer Blog about this.
Oh, yeah, Ben's.
I was just going to say,
Beer
it
Blog.
sounds so cool.
Well, he's done some real reporting on this.
Oh, really, Chris?
Yes, he has. And he says, obviously the fact that this place is closing down is bad news in and of itself. But he said it also may find that that there's a lot of breweries who are planning to open or were looking to expand using DME equipment that may find themselves overextended in their investments of said expansions to the point that they might have to close their doors at the request of craft breweries I've spoken to, who now find themselves in financial jeopardy as a result of this announcement. I won't name names tonight, but since the news broke, I have spoken to multiple brewery owners who have hundreds of thousands and in some cases over $1 million invested in future brewing equipment from DME that they are now unlikely to ever see and who are now facing the very real prospect of bankruptcy over. So
that blows. That's terrifying.
I have to say, I mean, when we were looking into equipment and everything on that end, that thought never crossed my mind.
Right, that one of your suppliers would just go out of business.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we thought it was pretty bad when Gwen decided to sell her business, and we were part of a contract. You know, we had a signed contract with everything, and she already started the manufacturing on the brew pub, on the brewery system. But, you know, when they came back to us, they wanted to renegotiate everything. And then we were like, whoa, you know, like the reason why we got this for this, you know, there was already these deals and a contract made. So it was really, it put us in a really very strange spot. It was the first time I've ever felt a little bit taken advantage of, but never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that it could all be taken away and the money that I put down would be gone.
Gone.
I mean, just gone.
And no one to go after because they're gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be the weird. I feel so horrible. Emotionally horrible for those people that have to go through this because that is out of your control.
Probably did all the right stuff, all the due diligence, and then even if they were just, you know, saving up and expanding very kind of moderately, it doesn't matter. You're done because of just.
And that's a lot of money to be out of. A lot of money.
Yeah, it probably on, could very well be debt financed.
Yes.
The way they put that down. So now you're just taking on all this extra debt that you needed the extra capacity that this new system would bring in order to make the extra money to pay the debt. You don't have it. You're still out the money. You don't have any way to make the extra money to pay this debt. The bank's not going to just let you not pay the debt. So then you have to go bankrupt, and then it trickles over to the bank.
The reason why the bank actually loaned you the money is because they have the collateral on your tanks. And if those never show up, they have nothing. So now the bank is
jeopardized. Well, they have the rest of your equipment.
They do, but it's not the same. The amount of money that goes into the equipment that you open up a brew pub or brewery with.
Right, if you're expanding.
Yeah, if you're expanding, it's a little bit different. You're right. But that still hurts your bottom line. You're absolutely right. They're going to go after what you have. Yeah.
Yes.
And I just confirmed that Revolution's brewhouse is from Newlands, the company that DME.
I thought so, but I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have your tanks, so you're very good. You guys are great.
We're fine. We don't have anything on order that I know about.
Scary stuff. I mean, is this a sign of winter coming, winter being here, Doug, or is this just a, bad
another day in the brewing universe?
Another day. It's Chinatown, Jack.
Yeah, I mean,
nice.
It
Frank, Jack, Joe.
I would imagine it is. Probably, if they have all these projects in process, there's probably something that happened pretty recently, like a pretty big shock to their normal sales, perhaps in the last 6 to 12 months, something like that. I could absolutely see. There's always, even when there's not growth in the industry, there's always there's ROI on a improved equipment and all that. So there's still going to be companies buying equipment, but certainly not to the degree as if the industry, the number of breweries is truly expanding. So I mean, it could certainly be. I don't know anything about this company, as you have figured out from the last 10 minutes, but there could certainly just as easily be mismanagement of the company. But I would imagine that the industry conditions are hurting them in a big way for sure.
Would that be the same as saying that they overestimated the amount they made? Or do you think they went by order? So, like, I don't know these type of companies.
They could have planned just like think of a West Coast brewery opening up their second brewery on the East Coast in 2014. Seeing trajectories going one way, and planning to be able to service what the charts were showing, and then that just completely hitting a wall, which has absolutely happened. It's possible. Like, again, I don't know what they invested on their side to be able to fulfill what they thought would be coming based on what was happening 2 years ago, and now realizing, oh, there's not even close to the demand for upgraded systems. There's some, as I was saying.
Right.
It's not that there's going to be zero breweries looking to get a better brew house and get a more efficient brew house, bigger brew house. That's still going to happen, but the rate is slowing tremendously from what a company like that is probably seeing, I would guess.
Do we have any stats about how many breweries, brew pubs, and things like that have closed, out of curiosity?
We talked about it a few weeks ago when we had the financial episode, but
I missed the invite to that one.
Yeah, you weren't invited to that one.
Wow.
No, it was just hardcore. I don't even think it was just bankers and stuff like that. But I think you actually told me that I am not available for the next so and so period of time. So
I did.
Yeah. So
But here I am.
Yeah.
I like how all the blame's going back and forth here. So, by the way,
We're
you
good
said
at
you
it.
weren't available anyway.
But you said you didn't want to be available.
Well, I think that's like an irrelevant stat. I think the more interesting stat is not closures to openings, but number of barrels produced closed to number of barrels produced opening. So, like, if a bunch of 300 to 500 barrel a year brew pubs open, that's not changing much.
Yeah.
But if a 80,000 barrel regional brewery, and not like what was the one, Smutty Nose up in the north, when something like that happens, that is big. That creates the room. If everything's just staying the same, that creates the room for 160 brew pubs to open. I'm just doing 80,000 divided by 500. But so that to me is more interesting. Do big ones go down, and that a big one can go down, and then a ton of little ones can open. So
I have a lot to learn from you, Doug.
He's one of the premier beer senseis we have.
I was going to
on
say
planet Earth.
sensei, but I didn't know how to pronounce it at the point in time, so
Yeah.
I didn't say it.
That's okay.
Thank you.
I
Thank you for helping me.
Yeah.
And I think this like you were saying, Doug, and I guess I'm probably just going to repeat what you said, just not as eloquently.
Are you gonna Doug-splain Doug?
No.
Wow, that's a good one, Calvin. I like that.
Are you Doug-splaining?
I won't say anything. There's Doug-splaining when you factually and accurately explain something.
It's a good thing.
Is that Doug-splaining?
That is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's like saying you don't care what they say about someone.
Yeah. I just think it is funny how we are seeing how when things were ramping up in beer, people wanted to get out in front of it because they saw an opportunity to be, the big guy when all this, stuff's going to keep growing and growing, and now's our chance to kind of get out in front of it and be the big guy. And, I mean, the one who did it, I think most amazingly was really your good friend.
You talking about my friend?
Yeah, your friend.
Tony?
Yeah, your friend.
Tony McGee, yeah.
Someone you know
Yeah, he
intimately.
got out in front of it.
He got out in front of it.
As I did in front of him.
Yeah, he did.
But in a bigger way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's but a lot of people were trying to do that. And I think some of them
Batter Brow.
Sierra Nevada, New Belgium, Green Flash is obviously a huge one. Maybe it was DME as well, but I guess it's kind of no risk, no reward type thing. They took a gamble and
Yeah, but maybe at that time they could take the gamble because there was so much of it happening.
Right. Yeah.
It was like rampant. People were looking at other breweries, looking at them right away, looking at their financial status. It's like, okay, I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
They're doing it. I'll do it. But
Exactly.
they were all just doing it because
And other manufacturers popped up, right, to take that space. So
Yep.
a lot more competition, and with that environment, some companies maybe overreach themselves
The
way
squeeze,
beyond,
the tightening.
They absolutely did. Yeah.
Or maybe someone really had a bad cocaine problem in the executive office and just
$120 million
$120 million
cocaine
for the
problem.
cocaine, and he's tied up with El Chapo. We don't know the real
Ed,
story.
you would know better than anyone. How much? I mean, is it possible for a single person to have a $128 million cocaine habit?
Yes, especially if he's sharing.
Yeah, you have to share a lot.
As one does.
A lot.
Yeah. Well,
Chris, you've
yes.
been to King Kona's fake cocaine parties.
Yeah.
Mountains and mountains and piles.
But that's
you
just
see
shaved coconut.
You see the salt.
That's
the
just
salt
shaved
piles of the
coconut,
street.
I was
man.
hoping it was sugar.
It is shaved coconut,
powdered coconut.
but it's a replacement for cocaine. It's a natural, healthy
coconut cane.
coconut cake.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Cocaine.
Yeah, cocaine.
Cocaine.
Yeah.
So we're seeing breweries like Mars adapt right to this market by adding shrub tonics.
Yeah.
Right. They are diversifying their production. Can you speak to that, Ed?
Well, actually,
Ed, you have 3.5 minutes left in the show.
We are actually pursuing a non-alcoholic beverage program and other projects thing. We have this kind of Mars project, secret project things going on. We're using our old Psycho Brew system that we had in our first brewery as a way to produce these non-alcoholic beverages. That's why I wanted your malt vinegar, because we make shrubs. We're doing kombucha. We're doing matcha tea beverages. We're making cold brew coffee. We have a secret CBD shrub right now that we've been messing around with, but it's all just incubators, super small ways of wasting lots of money.
Any cocaine?
Right.
Yeah.
And we're working with
Kona.
the King Kona and a natural cocaine product that people can drink, snort, lick, spread on their bed sheets as a way to kind of emulsify their bodies to bring that high that they want when not necessarily partying, not necessarily going out, just getting wasted and just trying to cut the
Yeah.
the
Maybe they're
edge.
just cuddling. Maybe they just want to cuddle.
It's about
you know,
warmth.
Like,
it's about
comfort
feeling
and and just,
hydrated.
completely hydrated
Yeah.
and letting that happen
And
throughout their body.
That's what our incubation program, the special project program, is all about.
Cal,
Incubating
anything
comfort.
you want to say in closing?
In closing, I think the first person to come try that secret CBD beverage you're talking about
Is me.
will be Michelle. After Michelle, second line would be Governor-elect Pritz.
Oh, there it is.
He's gonna be there. So this is I'm calling you out, Pritzker.
You better be down here in the South Side, Governor-elect. We'd heard your promises. Legalize it. Don't. What's the lyric go? Don't despise it.
Yeah.
Legalize it.
Oh,
Don't
this is awesome.
despise it.
Yeah.
Legalize it. That's my
All right.
statement.
Keep going, guys. Keep going.
Anything you would like to say, Michelle? Thank you for coming on.
No, I had a great time. I'd like to be invited back, please,
Yeah,
Chris.
put
Okay.
Thank
her
you.
on the list, man.
I
I
did.
mean, how
She
many
filled
ladies
out-
do you usually have on the show?
She filled out one. She filled out one date. This date.
See, that's what he likes to do. I throw it at him, and he throws it right back.
Yeah.
It's like he's like rubber. Is that how it works? You throw it at the rubber, and it bounces
Glue.
back at you. Glue.
Yeah.
Well, glue sticks
He
at
is
you.
a rubber
so-
wall.
You
Oh,
are.
glue.
You are the first woman to be on the show.
Am I really?
Since last show.
Oh, what?
But-
All right, fine. I don't feel special, by the way.
You're very special.
Thank you.
We have your ribbon on the way out. Jamie's gonna hand it to you.
Mr. Veliky, anything you would like to say?
Yeah, I want to mention an event that I'm really excited about that me and my team have been working on. It's going to be at the Revolution Tap Room on Wednesday, December 12th, and we're calling it We Are Family, a Pride in December event.
Sweet.
So,
Wow.
we wanted to show our commitment to the LGBTQ community and not just do it during Pride weekend in June. We wanted to, so we picked purposely. We waited till December, the farthest point from that date, and we're going to throw a big dance party. We have an awesome set of entertainment for the night, including a DJ and a band that's going to play at the tap room, and we're making a special one-off beer for it. That's going to be a session IPA with blood orange, and encourage everybody to drink that beer that night. And 100% of all sales of that beer is going to go to Chicago House, which is a great organization, and they're going to be partnering with us for this, and we have all these cool raffle prizes where all the money from the raffle prizes donated from the White Sox and all these other great organizations, all that money is going to, again, go to Chicago House. That's Wednesday, December 12th that I'm really excited about.
I was so going to say something like, "Oh, you're so professional, Doug," but now with that, I can't. I so want to support this, so I will be there.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone. And to you, the listeners. I want to thank my guests, Cal, Ed, Michelle, and Doug. And we will see you next week with more of the Insiders Roundtable. So long.
Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again, 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 again. Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again, 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 again. Remember, this is what we wanted. Remember, this is what we said. To never be heard or seen from again, 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 again.